We're staying in our more dimensioning.dwg file. And as you can see, I've zoomed to extents by double clicking on the wheel of the mouse. Now, just before we get started, I'd like you to go to the Home tab on the ribbon and make sure in your layers drop down here, you're using the A010D_dim layer. Just click on it like so to make it the current drafting layer. Then we're just being consistent, and all of what we're going to create in this chapter goes on the same layer as our dimensions. Now in this chapter, we're going to look at multi-leaders, and I normally place these on my dimensions layer. It's up to you if you want to place them on a different layer. Your call entirely if you want to create a new layer for them. We're going to zoom in on this top right corner. You'll remember the large conference table that we put the weird hatch pattern on, like so. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to create a leader that comes off of that and cranks across here and just tells people that it is the large conference table. Now, the best way to work with your multi-leaders is to go to the Annotate tab on the ribbon. And you'll see that we've got a leaders panel, and I'm going to click on this little arrow here on the leaders panel because we need to create a new multi-leader style. So we're going to click on new like so, and we're just going to call it training like so. And I'm going to start with standard because it's the only one we've got. I am, however, going to tick the annotative box and click on continue because I want it to be annotative. And what that means is any sizes that we put into this style will be working off of the annotation scale, 1 to 100, which I left from the previous video. Now, we've got leader format, so the type is straight. That means a straight line like so. So we're going to leave that as straight. I like them straight, or if you want, you can have a spline, which makes it nice and curvy. In fact, I quite like the look of that with some text, so we're going to leave that curvy with the spline type. Color, you want by layer. Like we did when we were creating dimension styles, you want to think about that like so. Now, the dimension styles, we did look at those in Learning AutoCAD. Line type, also by layer. Line weight, also by layer. We'll go with the standard close-filled arrowhead. That tends to work. And the size there, well, we want that to be, say, 5 millimeters, like so. And then the break size, we'll make that 5 as well. So we'll just tab that like so. So that's 5 and 5. And you can see it's got a bit smaller. Don't worry about that too much at the moment. We're going to go to our leader structure now. Maximum number of leader points is 2. So that means 1, click on the arrowhead, 2 when you place it up here. You can have extra angles if you want to by switching them on or off. That's entirely up to you. The landing settings in this case will be grayed out because we're using the spline option there. And the scale is annotative, so it's going to work with our 1 to 100 scale. The next bit, which is really important, is content. What sort of multi-leader type do you want? Do you want M-text, multi-line text, which will look a bit like that? Or if you go to block, you can have things like callouts in a slot, a circle, so you can see all different types there, and the attachment can be center extents. I'm going to go back to M-text in this case. Text style. What we're going to utilize is something like standard, or do we want to create our own text style for this? Well, I'm going to click here on this little button, and I can go into the text editor like so. And what I'm going to do here is create a new text style, and I'm going to call it leaders, like so. In fact, MLeaders, you might want to call them if you want to. Multi-leaders, it's entirely up to you. There you go, MLeaders like that. And I'm going to do an underscore like so, and then model. Now, the trick here is to say OK to that. We'll give it a suitable font. So I'll type C there and select Calibri, regular. And it's going to be annotative or not annotative. Leave it all as is. You don't want it annotative and you don't want the height in there because we're going to specify the height in the style. Can you see there? Text height is available there. So what we'll do is we'll leave all of that as it is. We don't need any effects, and you don't need to actually set it current. You can just apply that and close. And then if you go here, you'll see that we've got MLeaders model, and look, it looks much nicer already. Text height though, we want that to be 5, and just press tab, and you'll see it all of a sudden looks a bit big. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to frame the text. I like framing it. It always looks nice. And we'll have a horizontal attachment coming off of our leader, as you can see. And you've got vertical attachment, left attachment, do you want it middle of the top line of text, and so on. The landing gap needs to be improved though. I'm going to make that 1.5 millimeters and just tab that as well. Can you see that that kind of gives you a little bit of a gap there with the text? I'm going to OK all of that now, select training, set current and close. And what that means now is I've got the training style as the current multi-leader style. So if I click on multi-leader now and specify where my leader arrowhead location goes, I'm going to go midpoint off the table. Can you see the arrowhead is a nice size? Because it's adhering now to our 1 to 100 annotation scale. So I'll pop that to about there and click. There's my text editor kicks in on the ribbon as well. So I've got all the text editor tools available. And I'm just going to put there large conference. And then I might press enter now and come down a line, table. And then I just click away from the text and there we go. And the lovely thing about that is you've got that nice curved leader line and the text stands out, but it's adhering to our 1 to 100 annotation scale. So that means when I come into the layout tab, you'll see that there it's appearing as well because it's 1 to 100. However, it's cut off by the edge of the viewport a little bit. No problem there. We just select the viewport, click on the grip, make it a little bit bigger by dragging, and there we go, hit escape. There's our large conference table. What I'll do now, I'll go back to the model tab. Let's place one more of these. I'm going to zoom out and pan up. And we've got here a little kickback area. So I'll go multi-leader, pick a point, take it to about there. And there's our little cursor again. So this will be the staff kickback area. And I click away from the text or close the text editor. As you can see, it's got a little box around it. If I go back to the layout tab now, because it's using that 1 to 100 annotation scale and it's annotative, it's all showing nice and neatly on the floor plan in the viewport. You'll also notice that our baseline dimensions don't fit. So I click there, just click on the grip there on the viewport, bring that down, and there's those dimensions that we placed when we were working with baseline earlier. Hit escape to deselect the viewport, click on the model tab, double click on the wheel, get into that CAD practice of double clicking on the wheel to go to the extents, and there's our multi-leaders in place. Now you don't have to use text. I showed you there the block option in the multi-leaders too. So you could have a circle, and what it does there is it creates a block with attributes. So the circle, you could have a number in it, and you could have a number call off perhaps for a parts list in a mechanical drawing if you wanted to try that and delve deeper into the multi-leader command.